like you. Better step into the light, just give it a try. Think that it's time you let that spark out. You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. And who cares if you might mess it up? You're stronger than the others think. And who cares if you might mess it up?
Well, hello everyone. Hello. Thank you for joining us. Again, attempt two. Oh my goodness, doesn't the internet give you a pain in the backside? Anyway, my name's Nerissa Mcleod and I am here coming from Queensland, Australia. And thank you so much for joining us on Who, What, Where Wednesday, as we have a special guest coming in tonight as well. So I just want to say a big thank you to a couple of people coming in. Thank you, Jean, for being here. We really appreciate you every week popping in. And definitely Taran, Saraj, Raja and Kenton coming in from New Zealand as well. We have our special guest here from New Zealand. I just want to run through a couple of things first. Thank you so much. I have been doing some amazing videos, put them together on my channel, my YouTube channel. If you'd like to watch them, they're only little shorts. They're mainly, bringing about those positives from our on-Pacifians who have shared their heart about what they want to do, where they want to go, who they want to help, and also those who are actually giving gratitude for our Mr. Ash Mafara and our beautiful tech team who have worked tirelessly to bring about our back office, the OES, as you know it. Please be aware that we are asked just to log in right now, not to do anything else, but please just log in if you can. If you can't, make sure you clear your cookies cache and refresh. And I'm sure that soon, very soon, you will all be able to get in. I've been able to get into all of mine and I'm very happy with the process. And I'm very thankful and blessed to our CEO for being able to bring this back from where it had gone and have an amazing team with him. Now, just moving forward, again, there's a couple more people coming in. Ruth, it's so lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Kenton is also putting together a video. If you want to reach out to Kenton Patterson or myself, and I'll put you in contact with Kenton. Kenton is putting together a little video where we all get to say 20 seconds of appreciation and gratitude for our CEO and also the tech team. Reach out for that and I'll give you the particulars. That closes off tomorrow night at 10 p.m. New Zealand time. So thank you. Oh, can't understand that one. Okay, send that. And Rasheb, thank you for joining us. Thank you so much, Raja. Please leave a message in the comments and just let us know where you're coming in from. Also, I have a little something that just came to me in my little video that I just shared. It says, how you do anything is how you do everything. And that's a quote that actually came through from Ash. I'd like you to sort of think about that while we're, going into this live, going into our guest speaker today, and just think about how you do anything is how you do everything. Think about that. Some thoughts come to you, pop them into the comments, and I will get back to you all later. So we can go over to our guest speaker now. So we have a lovely lady, Nerissa Mcleod, coming in from New Zealand. Now, I don't know Nerissa very well, so I'm going to let her share her story, and I'm going to be popping in and out and talking to Nerissa so that she can share a part of her life and her story with us all. So thank you very much again for being here. Like I said, I'll come back to the messages. And thank you, Jean. I know it sort of dropped out as soon as I started to go live, but we're remembering that the internet we can't control. So we're back. We came back very quickly, but here we are. This is Nerissa Mcleod. Thank you for joining us, Nerissa. It's so good to see you. You look absolutely beautiful. Are you, sorry, we can't hear you right now.
Okay.
Just give it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, welcome. Nerissa, it's lovely to see you. Let's start with, where you were born. Let's hear a little bit about who you are.
just to start off, I would just like to say in our native Māori language, kia ora, e te on pesa whānau, aroha nui. And in English, that is hello to my on pesa family and big love to you all.
Thank you.
So, where would you like for me to start now, Narelle?
I would like you to start about you know, like where you were born, what sort of family you were born into, any siblings, mum, dad, that sort of thing.
Okay, so well, I'll start from where I live in the Gisborne, in New Zealand, which is in the North Island of New Zealand, about halfway down on the east coast, and we were known as the Surf City. So it was very interesting when I listened to Dan Price today when he said that
Yeah.
he'd come down in his younger days to the surf, to surf, and we were known as the Surf City and Surf and Sun City. And it's a, well, back in those days, and Dan would know this is why he came here. This was the place to be in New Zealand. This is where it all happened. And it's we're about 38,000, just over in population. And it was we're a agricultural, horticultural area. And
Mm-hmm.
We're about 2 hours in three directions to get out of our town to get to the nearest big city. So we're very isolated compared to the rest of the country.
Yeah.
And we're surrounded with a lot of farmlands and
Mm.
it's and windy roads and everything like that.
I've heard about them.
So we can
I've
be
heard
cut off.
about those ideas.
Yeah, so we can be cut off very easily from the rest of the world. So we're very self-sufficient and we could live off the land if we were cut off because we're a doorstep away to the beach. We've got, and this
Wow.
is for you, Chris Johnson. We have the best fishing area in the world and the best fish. And I've travelled a lot and I've tasted a lot of fish.
Yeah.
And that was just a little bit of a sort of a,
A dig. That's okay.
and because I know he loves his fishing. And anyway,
Yes.
going back, it was a very, very prosperous town because we had the biggest canning factory here in New Zealand. And because we have a lot of produce and animal fruits, and we are known as the capital of the Chardonnay, um, viticulture.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of in the lowlands, and then we go out to the farmlands, and we're all forestry now because we've lost our three main industries that gave income to our locals, and that was the freezing works and the abattoirs and the canning factory. And what's sustaining the income for the locals here at the moment is forestry, and
Yes.
and we're just recovering over the last couple of years when we got hit by Cyclone Gabriel, where we had
Mm.
a lot of disastrous situations occur for families losing their homes, some
Yeah, that was
lives.
that was a big that was a huge cyclone, and it travelled right
Absolutely.
from up north through the inland of Australia and out, and it's almost like it waited to dump everything on poor old New Zealand. You know, it was a
Yeah,
huge cyclone. It went for a long time, and the destruction was just, yeah,
it was
it's
devastating.
irreplaceable. Some of
And
those things. So
yes, we're still in recovery mode, but we're through the worst.
mm,
And the farmlands, most of the labour for the locals here where they work, and it's taken a long time to get back to that stage where now everyone's sort of starting to feel more comfortable. Where a lot of situations in regards to um, businesses being devastated has been a big thing for the area.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, if we were cut off to the rest of the world, we could actually live off the land because we got the fish and we
Yeah.
eat pretty much. I dare say grass, but it's not. It's we can. There's certain things that we eat that I know that most people don't eat. That we, in regards to what you might consider weeds, we have lots of fruit trees and produce and things. Every
Yeah.
fruit, every
I
orchards
know.
of we
Sorry,
produce.
before you go ahead there, I just want to say my sponsor Val Astor lives in New Zealand, and I believe some of her family were affected really bad that had, I think, and forgive me, Val, if I'm wrong, strawberry farms over there. And it was just absolutely devastated, wiped out. So I do feel, and I'm sure that many of our viewers here know of devastation as we go into, Hurricane Helene that's just hit over in the US near Florida,
Absolutely.
and also Hurricane Milton,
Global. Mm.
things like that. So I just want to bring that awareness that if we all keep each other in prayer, we all go through these times. I think from these times we can grow great strength and courage. We support and lift each other up, and I think that's really important. So I just want to say that to you, Nerissa,
Mm.
that here in Australia we know. And everybody knows, and there was lots of prayers going out for you guys over there. But please continue. I just
Yes,
wanted
yes.
to cut in there with that.
Okay. So in regards to, we have our claim to fame actually, and dare I say, we are known as the first light, and the reason being that we are the first town in the whole world that gets the first sunrise. So
Beautiful.
we are the gateway to the beacon of light that starts around the world.
Oh, how cool is that? Well
Mhm.
done. I love that.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to think of some other claims to fame. Oh, we had a little. This is going back to I think 83, 84, 1984, or something like that. We had Mel Gibson arrive here. That everyone I
Wow.
think knows Mel Gibson, and he
Mhm.
came here to film Bounty Mutiny on the Bounty, and
Yeah.
we have a little island that when the tide goes out, you can actually walk across, and
Yeah.
that was predicted uh, depicted as Pitcairn Island in the movie, and
Okay, cool.
yes, and the backdrop of the wharf and everything, it was very sort of English brickwork buildings that look very English, and that was used as the backdrop for the whole English sort of thing with the boats. They had
Yeah.
a replica of the Endeavour and all this sort of, with the boat that he was on. Like I don't know what it was called, to be honest. So it was an amazing time for our little town to have all these Hawaiians that came in as extras and things like that, and Mel Gibson and
Yeah.
whatever. That was exciting. So that was another claim to fame. And the other big one
Absolutely.
is that I think it was 2000 and I'd say I'm having a bit of a guess here because dates are not sort of my thing, but I think it's around about 2018 maybe.
Yeah.
Where there was the Kiwis, Kiwi or New Zealanders, American firm was established here at what we call Young Nick's Head, uh, which is about a 40-minute drive, possibly from the city.
Yeah.
And when we're I'm about two minutes of drive away from our main city beach, because I live right in the centre of the heart of Gisborne. And
Beautiful.
if I go to that beach and look out, and I will see this peninsula. And for English people who may be listening, they will understand when I say that it's called Young Nick's Head, but it looks like the White Cliffs of Dover. And on the end of that peninsula, the New Zealanders and the Americans established a firm which is called Rocket Lab. And
Okay.
yes, and so that's a big deal in regards to its collaboration with NASA and all that sort of thing. So that's been a
Okay.
big deal for our area. Yeah.
That sounds very
And
good, and very good
mm,
for New Zealand as well. So
yes, absolutely, yes. And other than that, we've had a lot of wonderful people that have brought um, attention to our little area, because we in the last Olympics, our number one gold medalist for rowing, and that was from Gisborne, from here.
mm, wow.
And we've had a lot of success in different areas in that way. And we are pretty good at rugby.
Yeah, pretty
Well,
good. And it
our
looks like
nearest,
all of
our,
our
near, our
audience,
nearest
we
rival,
all want,
yes, our
we all want it.
nearest, yeah, our nearest
I'm an Aussie
rivals
girl
are the
through and through.
Wallabies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
So for
it
people that
sounds
don't
like
understand, there's always been a fierce competition between the Australians and New Zealand, as and
absolutely.
yeah, but it's
It's a love-hate relationship.
absolutely yes.
But it looks like our audience might be. I'm just going to ask the audience also about what do you think? That's pretty good, hey? And also, I think we'd all love to go to Gisborne one day and visit, because it sounds like a really remarkable place. So if you know think of anywhere that you'd like to go, if you've been to New Zealand and would like to put that in the chat, we'd love to hear from you. I know there's lots of people coming in still, so please keep going, Nerissa, and
But
let's hear some more.
it's amazing, because we do get a lot of people here, mainly from Europe, and they come here because of the walkways, the native scene, the nature, our native bush areas, and of course the ocean, and all the natural aspects of life that um, are available to them. That and they come here and they they go, this is like a little secret, It's like hidden away from the rest of New Zealand, and we're probably the second largest still populated Māori, with the Māori. That's the people, the original um, people of the land.
Indigenous, yeah.
Yes, um, and right up the top north is probably got the highest population, because it's a very scattered area and vast, and so Gisborne's probably the second. And we've lost a lot of our locals because of the situations for employment. A lot of young ones have gone to Australia to live, and they're working in the mines. Mm.
And we don't mind them coming over because we do have the mines.
Yes,
But yeah, again, it's that little bit of rivalry. Like you can pick them from a
absolutely.
mile away. But
Yeah,
they fit into the Australian culture really well. And I think that comes from, just having that closeness. New Zealand is known so much for its beauty. Honestly, I've had my sisters and relatives go over there many times already, and friends as well. I haven't been there yet. However, the beauty of it and what you're explaining is that, it's like a hidden gem, like many of us here, and I know that the people listening in tonight probably thinking, where will I go? What will I see? What hasn't been seen? And they've got things in their head, but bringing you on, bringing our other speakers and special guests on allows us to see a little different bit of who that person is, and the diamond within, but also where you come from, because that's
Yeah,
exciting to me.
it is.
So keep going.
And New Zealand is, we've got every aspect of every parts of the world, but it's different. North Island is totally different to the South Island, where you've got the high ranges and the snow. We don't experience anything like that normally. And we have the high here in Gisborne. We have a what do you call it? We have a amazing um, sun. I'm trying to think of the word in regards to sun time. Like a 10 minute thing. That to be in the sun when it's out, or you'll get burned to pieces. And I've
Yeah.
travelled in some of the hottest places overseas, temperatures that we never even hear of, and you won't get burnt. 10 minutes here, and
Yeah,
and people.
it's those. I think they call them the UV rays. Like here in Australia too. People come particularly from England and places like that with their fair and white skin, and they
Yes,
come over to Australia and they think they can lay out in the sun. And within 5 minutes, within a few minutes, they're starting to go red, and they just lie there because that redness doesn't come out for some
mm,
time. And next minute, they're blistering, they're peeling, and they're in agony because sunburn really hurts. So,
absolutely.
like I said, us here in Australia too have probably one of the highest sun cancers in the world because of
Right.
our sun. So, continue on, Nerissa, please.
Yes,
Where did you go to
burn
work,
time.
or
That's
where did
what I
you
was
work?
thinking
We've,
about.
we've heard some
Burn
beautiful
time.
things about
So
your.
you can be
Sorry.
anywhere else in New Zealand and not experience the burn time like you do in Gisborne. And like every year, we've got this big festival that brings in a lot of people from overseas called the Rhythm and Vines. And it's an
Yeah,
outdoor thing where a lot of outside bands come, and a lot of people come from all over the world, actually. And people that have never been to Gisborne before, and they have no idea, and they think, oh, this is wonderful, all the sun, we have all this wonderful weather at Christmas time, New Year,
yeah.
and next thing you see them, they're all blistered and they've got all this white stuff to cover their face.
Aloe vera, everybody.
Yeah.
Get the aloe vera.
And the only way you can get
Nerissa,
away from it is sitting under a tree in the shade, because we don't have the humidity.
oh, well,
And
I've got
you
the
can actually go
humidity.
under it. It can be so hot, but go under a tree and feel okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
quite.
well, I've got the humidity in the tropics here. But listen, we've
Mhm.
heard some beautiful things about your country, but what about
Yes.
you? Where did you work? Where are your children?
Okay.
Did you have children?
All right. So I'll just have to just give a little bit of a synopsis in regards to that. My in regards to my parents, and my mother was Maori and my father was European. And when my mother's mother, my grandmother, she was when she passed, and I was about 13 years old. She was the last full-blooded, one of the last of 8 full-blooded Maoris that were in New Zealand. And since then, with all the integration with the different, cultures and things that have come into New Zealand through the settlement, it's dispersed and everything like that. But my dad was European, of course, and his parents were, well, not his parents, but my great grandparents were from the New Hebrides in Scotland,
Wow.
and yeah, and my my mother's father was from England when he came here, when they started to colonize and start settling here and in New
Yeah.
Zealand. He was from Bristol, and his family were cobblers apparently, and from there, um, my dad
children?
had gone. Eh? My dad had gone when he was 18 years old into the army and went overseas and came back, and wasn't until years later that I understood, or the word had. We didn't really know much about PTSD, so
Yeah.
the, our childhood was a great childhood in so many respects, um, but we had a lot to contend um, with whatever he came brought back with them emotionally, and you know,
Mm,
and it affected us in a big way, and
mm,
and at 59 years old, he couldn't handle whatever he was experiencing,
mm.
and he took his own life. And
I'm sorry.
yes, and but prior to that, uh, it was an ongoing thing as we were growing up, where that we were always trying to prevent that situation from occurring. So it was
Yeah.
always sort of very traumatic and tumultuous sort of situation in regards to that. And
Nerissa, Nerissa,
mm,
sorry, I
yes,
just want to cut in there because a lot of our listeners may not know what PTSD is, and it's post traumatic stress disorder. It can come under a couple of different labels, but that's basically it. And when people go to war or when people are in traumatic situations, post traumatic stress disorder can affect their lives as far as a mental illness, a mental condition where they just cannot get past the trauma that has happened in their lives. So I just wanted
mm,
to share that little bit, but please go forward.
mm. No, thank you. Because growing up, and um, we were one of the first people to probably get TV. And then once the news started coming on, they'd show anything to do with war. My dad would just lose it. It
Yeah.
would affect him. And he'd come from, he was from the farmlands. His parents had been on farms, so they were used to hunting and what have you. So we had a lot of rifles around in the home.
Okay.
And so there was always this contention of when he went through these days that we go into, like um, trying to settle him down and bring him to calm, because this was always on his mind, that he couldn't take what he wanted out of
Yeah.
what he was experiencing. Um,
Yeah.
Not realizing at the time, but I think as we grew older, things that we may have experienced back then as children, it came up. We couldn't understand possibly why we were experiencing certain feelings and emotions, and it's
Mm.
only through down the track when you sort of start looking for answers that it all stems back to situations like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so from there, I went at school. I was okay at school. I wasn't silly. I was academically pretty bright, but I didn't like school,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that was something that stemmed from very early thing, where the school that I was going to, primary school I was going to at the time, my classroom burnt down, and we had to get a bus to another school. And I
Oh,
was playing with a tennis ball and bouncing it up and down in the bus, and it dropped onto the floor. And I got up and I got reprimanded and taken, and I was strapped for it. And
mm,
that just devastated me, that I got strapped for picking up getting out of my seat and picking up a ball.
mm.
And from there on, I had no respect for authority. So I think possibly for another uh, to think of I can't think of a better thing other than I probably became a rebel without a cause, and I just um, I had a lot of altercations with different teachers right through my school life, and yet
Yes.
I did always did well. and if I did well, and the teachers asked me anything particular, and they say to me, "Oh, who got first in class for this or that or whatever in that exam?" Because and I'd stand up and I go, and I'd get looked at and go, "Will you stop being stupid, Nerissa, and sit down?" And things like that. And so I joke with my grandchildren now, and I said, "Oh, Nan went to school to eat her lunch and play netball." I was a good athlete. I was a good athlete, and
Yeah.
I loved my netball, and I was a very good junior tennis champ in my area, and when I was 6 years old, I was forced, I suppose. It took me a while to really enjoy it, but I did Highland dancing and Irish
Oh,
dancing.
wow. Well
Yeah,
done.
and I got to the stage where I did all my uh, tests and exams to become a Highland dancing teacher, and and every year we have what we call a spring show, which I think you have in Australia. And we had to dance out in the open where everybody sort of that came to the spring show came and watched. And I was just getting to my teenage years where boys was that I knew would come and watch me, and I sort of thought, I can't do this anymore. I just want it, and this has got to stop. And so I was let off the hook, but it had always been something that I love when I hear the bagpipes. It's
Okay.
it's here, and needless to say, I've been to Scotland a couple of times and been to both castles, the Campbell Castle and the Mcleod Castle. I was a Campbell prior to marrying, and and then
Nothing like a
yeah,
nothing like a
so
man.
sort of I from school. My very first job, I left school fairly early, and I went. And my first job was I was a taxi dispatcher. So I go, car 54, where are you? So, that sort of thing, and send them to go and pick up their clients and what have you. And then where I lived, our neighbours, they were beautiful Maori family that had come from what we call the land of the mist and sort of thing, and they came down and they had a sharing contract. They were sharing contractors. So you may have to explain maybe to people what that means, but they were stuck for a worker, and they said, well, can you come and help out or something like that? So I went along, and I ended up staying and working for them for 6 years, wool classing, and that was it was pretty tough at someone that was only like 17 years old, working from 5 in the morning to 5 at night, and it's just you don't stop, unless it's break, a lunch or whatever. And it was hard because we went up into very high isolated areas where it was just metal roads and the back of a dusty old truck, and it was just the canvas that kept covered us. And sometimes there was no electricity in some of these places, and the machines for shearing were done by diesel, and the cooking was done on a fire kiln, and
Yeah.
we'd have to wash in a cold river. So, but it was an experience that I have never regretted, because I did some amazing things that I learned from the old shearers that were there, that took me out at night. Um, I guess people might know what an eel is, and we eat those. They're quite a luxury for a lot of us. And they live in the rivers, and we'd go in the river at night with a, a can, or like an empty peach can full of sheep's wool, diesel on, and that'd be our lanterns. and
Yeah.
and I'd learned exciting things like that. I learned how to fillet them and smoke them and things like that. And these things, I look back now at that age, And I see the teenagers now that will never get that experience of these things that were brought through from our people and things like, from, and and even thinking about my dad going to war at 18. And I look out now and I see all the youngsters with their head in their phones.
Yeah.
And saddest thing
It,
for me.
it's definitely changing times, and it's very sad because I like you, I sort of grew up in a very, very, very small town, and
Mm,
fishing was something my dad did. Eels, if nobody knows what an eel is, it's double E-L. They may be a little bit different from New Zealand to Australia, but a lot of people would call it a rubbish fish. You called it luxury, you called it something. Over here, like in Australia, it was something you caught in the rivers. It wasn't an ocean fish. And we loved it. Eel was beautiful, but we ate anything that was put in front of us back
mm.
then. So,
Same here.
I think anybody who loves fish will give anything a try when it comes to fish. And we eat the skin. A lot of people peel the skin off of fish, and it's like, why would you do that? That's the best part. So it's really exciting. There's so much that you have
Mm,
experienced in life. I mean,
mm.
the dancing, the
That's it.
Highland dancing, and like I
Mm.
said, there's nothing nicer looking than a man in a kilt, so they say. And I have a niece who married a Scotsman as well, and there are a little bit of that in the family. I just
Mm,
want to bring it back to Jean said something about. I just want to read this quickly, and it was about the bagpipes.
mm.
I think she said something along the lines of "It moved my spirit," or bagpipes stir my soul. So yes, Jean,
Absolutely.
I believe so too. There's nothing. They're very loud, and particularly if you go to a wedding where they play it in the church, like
Yeah.
then loud enough outside, let alone in a
Mhm.
tiny little church in a little village or something like that. But yeah, that's a beautiful experience. So let's move on a little bit
Yeah.
because we're sort of have to stick
Yes, I
to
know.
time. So I want
I
to talk
know
a
it's
little
really
bit
hard.
about
Prior to this, I'm thinking, how can I condense my life into such a short time? And
yeah,
it was really hard
it
trying to
is.
understand
It, it
it.
yeah,
And I
it's
thought,
not
I'll just let
easy.
it go
It's not
and just
easy,
go
but
with whatever.
no, but you
And I,
shared a lot tonight with us. So, what about your journey into On Passive? We've got some New Zealanders in here tonight. Was it somebody in New Zealand that contacted you, or did you find it
no,
somewhere else? Like,
actually, the only reason why I was ever on Facebook was the fact that I just loved connecting with people from other countries.
yeah,
And and I had a message come through for a request to be a friend, and I thought, oh, okay, no, I didn't have a problem with that, and sure. And the first thing that was sort of said, well, hello, how are you, and would you like to? Could I, would you be interested in sort of looking at this? So yes, sure. So which I did, and I listened to it, and I don't know what it was because I wasn't really into online marketing at all. I had to look. I had looked at so many other opportunities online, and because at that time I was working full time. I was a house painter, and I've been doing that for the last 28 years by myself,
wow,
painting homes inside outside. And I'd come home
oh,
really tired, and all I wanted to do was just relax and enjoy and just talk to people from other countries. I've always had a love
yeah,
for different cultures.
yeah,
And I thought, okay, I said, yeah, sure. So I listened and I hear this person, and it was Ash, of course. I don't know what it was. Well, I do know, but at the time it was like, I don't know, it's hit me. Suddenly I was thinking, and I had sort of queried along the way in regards to the online thing, the sort of thing, because I was living on my own at this stage because my children all had their own lives and what have you. And so I just had nothing better to do at night, and I was thinking, okay, well, I can just I'll start looking into different aspects of it. And I realised, not before long, that the most important thing was getting traffic. And when he was talking about that, that would be done for us and this sort of thing, and I'm saying, okay, well, this sounds pretty interesting, because if I'm going to get interested in a product, this is what I want, is for someone to do the traffic, because I
Yeah.
don't have any idea about this. So I didn't even
Yeah.
think anything more about it. I thought, well, what have I got to lose? Sign me up. I just signed myself up. And I would mention my sponsor's name, but this is going back to 2018, and I've never spoken to him since. He's never
Oh my
queried or
gosh.
asked. Yes.
Oh
And
my
it's just
gosh.
I appreciate and I'm so grateful for him sharing that, and I follow through with it. And I can't believe that he's never sort of, got back to me
Yeah.
or anything like that, or can I help you? Is there anything you need, do you understand everything? But
That's
and
incredible.
I've tried to be on as many webinars as I could, and I've never seen them. I've looked at chips. I thought, no, no, no. And I still get emails in regards to other other opportunities that he's involved with. So I thought, oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. He seemed a lovely, lovely person, and so I've just left it at that and just got on and just tried to do the best I could and work things out for myself. And so at that time I just waited. I'd signed up after that one listen, and I waited for the next one, and I'm sort of thinking, and it was a webinar, and he mentioned in regards on the webinar, he said, and I should know this off by heart, because what did he say? Give a man a fish for a day,
Yeah.
and oh,
Let me help you out.
yes, thank you.
Yeah. Give a man a fish and you will feed him for a
Feed him for a
day.
day. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Teach
Yes.
him
Teach
how
a
to
man,
fish and he will, yeah, he will eat for
and
a
he'll
lifetime.
add for a lifetime. Absolutely. And as soon as I heard that, and I'm thinking, I sat here and I thought, who is this guy? This is stuff going back to 1980 that I had in my work manual that I was sharing in group work at the time that I was involved with back then, on my
Mm.
healing journey, when I was searching for answers and healing for myself, because I'd had a major accident, um, and in a situation that in regards to my marriage and things like that, and I thought I need some answers to everything that I'm experiencing emotionally and mentally, that I was, that had been sitting there for so long. And this particular thing that first came into my life was, in my first manual, and there was no one else that was prepared to carry on once the overseas lecturer came. And I thought, oh gosh, well, I want to know more of this. So I got into it, and that was the first thing in this manual was about this fish.
Yeah.
So I'm
Wow.
thinking, this is 1980, and I'm hearing it now in 2000 or something from a man. I'm thinking, who is this guy? So I made certain then to watch and listen to every webinar that I possibly could. As tired as I'd come home, absolutely headed from work. And the hardest thing was waking up to be on the webinar, a live webinar, a corporate webinar at that time at 4 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, and the live ones were the worst, when sometimes the connections weren't coming in, and I'm trying really and trying to I keep my eyelids open. So, and the more I heard him, and I thought, my gosh, I find it very hard to call him my brother because of his age. He's the same age as my oldest son.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and, all I could think of was, this is amazing for someone his age, this gorgeous man that has got this mindset and this ability and everything like that. And I'm thinking, and I was just blown away with the whole you know, a dream and aspirations that he had for humanity.
Yeah.
And I knew by going way, way back in regards to my healing, which had been different modalities and things like that, this first thing I was talking about with this manual was I was 15 years with it, and I did a lot of group work and with people here, and then from there, other things opened up for me. So I became a Reiki. I'd done all my degrees in Reiki, and I started having. I had a clinic where I took on people, and
Mm.
then because of my physical aspects with after my accident, and I've been through a lot of traumatic stuff with the injuries that I'd had
Mm.
and the amount of times I'd been in and out of theatre and um, the first couple of operations and hip replacements and things that I had hadn't gone right. So eventually I had to go. I was taken up to Auckland out of town and I was put with the person that pioneered the hip replacement. So I had a lot of microsurgery done and bone grafting and things like that. And he ended up being my best friend. And he says, "Is there anything I can do? You want to ask me, Nerissa?" I said, "No, but I said, I'm just so grateful that you put 3 inches back in my leg that had disappeared, sort of thing." And
Oh,
I was 25 years old when this happened. And I said, if I could get out of bed, guess what I would do? And he goes, "Oh, what?" And I said, "I'll just hug you to death." And we ended up being wonderful friends. He always stayed in contact with me. We wrote to each other. We sent cards and everything like that. He's since
yeah.
passed, but yeah, he got
Sounds
me right.
amazing.
Yeah,
Nerissa, I just want to, Nerissa, thank you very much for sharing that. Again, I just have to watch the
that's
time.
right.
So
I
I'm
know. I
going to
know.
give you a little break, okay? And I'm going to go over
Mhm.
to our wonderful people who are in watching today and ask you any questions that may come through. So just give me a moment while I
Sure.
flick back up to this amazing. So thank you again, Jean, for coming and sharing with us and also putting that new link out. I know it was a bit of a fluster there for a while. Ruth,
Hi,
thank you.
Jean. Love
Ruth is
you.
actually coming in from Norway. Kenton's from New Zealand. There's a couple here that I don't know exactly, but it looks like they could be coming in from India, maybe Bangladesh. Also, thank you for being here. And I know that there's a question coming up, so just bear with me. Masigo Katisi, she's in from, I think, Botswana or Norway, one of those. A few years back, we did a lot of presentations with Norway and Botswana. They're most beautiful people. So thank you for joining us. I know it's a better time of the day for you guys as well. Not like Jean at 6 o'clock in the morning, but she knows that I do it most days. It's funny, Narelle, I've always felt a bit of odds with that quote because I feel I do some things well and other things terribly. So I look forward to this discussion very much. So I think it was about how you do anything is how you do everything. And truly there is, more depth in that than what it just reads. Certainly coming through from Ash Mafar as well. Lanty, thank you so much for being here.
Hi,
Raja, and there's a hi, all. Thank you for YouTube. That Narelle, the right time for me. Be blessed all. So that's Kitaris. Sorry, I am absolutely no good. We need Jane Redfern on here to read the names. Thank you for joining us, though. Deborah, thank you for joining us. Thank you that you have your laptop working and we can now finally see your messages. For anyone coming in on my Facebook channels and also over on LinkedIn, thank you very much for joining us. We can't always see the messages, but I do come back and answer you all later. So please know that we are aware that you are there and watching, and we appreciate your support. So there's Oxenat. Thank you so much for joining us. Tanya on Passive, thank you so much for joining in. And I did see your message down here a bit about, what was her name again? She spoke about the bagpipes and, what was her name? I'll go down. Anyway, I'll keep reading these and I'll get to it. So Subhash Sahu, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Please share this out if you have people that are wanting to hear about different parts of the world. And our guest speaker today is in from New Zealand, shared a lot about how beautiful her country is. Gallon, thank you for being here. Fazzy Rahman, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. And leaving any comments that you like. Supporting each other is so important. I'm sorry, Kenton. Go the All Blacks. Jean again said, my sister went to New Zealand on a trip with family and bought me back some Maori honey and paoa. Oh, the shell necklace. How's that pronounced?
Ponamu.
Pa? Yeah.
Ponamu, the green stone, the pink green stone.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. Yeah.
That's our
yeah.
pona. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. Jean, again, many movies have been filmed there, absolutely, because they have the terrain. Just as in Australia, we have different terrains and different, oceans and different islands and things like that. So New Zealand has definitely been used as a beautiful place and a background for many movies. New Zealand is on my desire list. Tanya, I'm glad that you have a desire list. I love that way. I love the way that you word that, desire. How probable, not sure, my health will have its say about it. Absolutely. And I understand that, Tanya, because you know my health as well. New Zealand is a lovely country. Coming from Deborah. Oh my gosh, you guys have been busy in here. Lovely to see Peter here as well. Can't remember how to say his surname, but Peter knows who he is. Let me move down here. Lydia David, she's in from Mariba, and we go Mariba or Mariba. That's our friend Lydia David, who we call Lids, and Lids was on just the other day, last week. So I've been doing a few here and there. So just a couple more. Jean, I want to get down to that question that
She asked about.
She just said about the bagpipes, and it was somebody who sang. What was her name? That lady that sang with the bagpipes, and she sang. Come on, it's got to be here. you guys talk too much. Here, I'll ask you this question. You can answer this while I go and look for what she said. Jean asked Nerissa, what is it that you like about your Celtic side? Like, what is it about that side of your family, your heritage, that sort of thing?
Possibly because having learned Highland dancing for such a young age, it is the sound of the bagpipes. And I hear that drone, and it goes right through my body. And it's something I wish now that when I learned dancing, my teacher actually, she was a female and she played the bagpipes, and I wish that I had learnt them. I really do. And I went to Scotland, and it was just beautiful. I felt that I belonged. I mean, all the countries I've been to. I just feel as if I belong anyway. That I just seem to be.
I think when you come already from culture, you tend to fit in with a lot of other cultures, and you like to, I suppose, expand on it, but also throw yourself into a culture. That's what I like about it. Like I said, I was married to an Aboriginal man, South Sea Islander. My girls are part Aboriginal, part me, which is German Polish, believe it or not. But yeah, culturally, I think it's always good to go back to those grassroots and things like that. So it really is important. But listen, I'll go over there because it was Susan Boyle who sang,
Yes.
and if somebody tells me, with bagpipes. So, and thank you, Deborah, for showing me or letting me know how that is pronounced. I should know it, shouldn't I? But I don't. And thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, Susan Boyle with the bagpipes. She sang a song, and I can't find the message from Tanya that said the actual message as well, but I'm sure it was absolutely beautiful. So while you're resting there, you've said hello to quite a few people. You've had some amazing people come in and share, like messages and things like that. And I think that's really beautiful. So just take a
Yes.
rest. I'm just going to do a little bit over to my website and then we'll come back, okay? So hang on there, people, and we're going to come back for some words from Nerissa as well. So this is my website, nerellawalkon.com. I am a published author. I wrote my book, Having Survived Sexual, Physical and Mental Abuse. I feel that I wondered, I suppose, for a long time what my purpose was in life, and now I know. Not only about, on passive, not only about writing my book, but being here as a hope for others, to let you know that you are amazing, you are worthy, you are really fantastic people, and don't let anybody else tell you any different. We all come from different walks of life, and we really have to find where we fit into society, our family sometimes, and just fit into knowing what your purpose is. Sometimes we go through things in life to bring us out to be the person who we are now, and I think that's hugely important. So if you want to purchase my book, you can go over to nerellawalkon.com. This is a picture of my book. It's called Blonde Roots, One Woman's Triumph of Lifetimes of Pain. And believe you me, you may need a little box of tissues, and you will get a laugh, because I have a little bit of a Aussie humor in there, I suppose you would call it. I also blog each day, and my blogs are just a little bit of inspiration. Some of them have a little bit more depth to them. Believe in yourself and all that you are. Know that there is something inside you that is greater than any obstacle, and that's part of my purpose, is to be able to bring to you, shining the light on others, but also letting you know that there are people out there who care, that have been through something that you have been through. Please don't sit alone, and please don't sit in that horrible experience, because it is not who you are. Okay, this is not how your story ends. You cannot do a kindness too soon, for you never know how soon it will be too late. We all know that, and we start to experience that as we go through life a little bit more. As we get to an older age, we start to realize that it is about kindness, it's about loving, it's about caring, it's about, everything that you want. I'll just come back to me now. It's about everything that you desire in life, but with the people. Remember, we've been told many, many times that, those people who you hang around with are basically what you become or how you act. So if you're hanging with negativity, then you're going to sort of side with those negative thoughts, and they don't do you any good. If you side with positive, find the people who will uplift you. Find the people that find the beauty in you, so that you can uplift them and they can uplift you. So I hope my message has been strong today, because I really think it's important about, not just shining the light, finding that diamond within is really important, because a lot of people don't think well of themselves, and they don't think they're good enough to be able to share their story, or that anyone will want to hear them. So reach out, go to my website, have a look there, have a little read. Also, pop over to my YouTube channel and have a look over. Please subscribe and ring the bell for notifications, because I am doing a few more lives now. And again, leave a comment, and leave, or reach out and let me know if you'd like to come on here. If you're from Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, Fiji, Bali, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand. If you're from any of the islands surrounding us, we'd love to hear your story. We've heard some amazing sharing from Nerissa tonight, and I really want to say thank you for everyone coming on. It's nice to have, each week we get a little bit more awareness out there about our not just my channel. This is not just about me. I shared my story in the beginning, and now it's about shining that light and finding that diamond within. But it's about, sharing our passion, sharing who we are, where we come from. Like you said, you're beautiful New Zealand, and there are many of you out there that have a story that needs to be shared. So if you do want to do that, please reach out to me, Nerissa Walk-On. You can message me at Nerissa at nerissawalkon.com. And I will answer your emails if you want to send an email, or reach out to me in Messenger on Facebook. Okay, that's me done. Thank you so much again. Like I said, there's so much that we have to share in life. And, by hiding it inside, you're never going to be able to help anyone. Share your experiences, share your love, share your passions, because somebody out there needs to hear your story, just as Nerissa has tonight shared her beautiful story. Nerissa, I'm just going to go over to you quickly, because I want to ask you, is there something that you would like to say to or share about our wonderful CEO, Mr. Ash Mafara? So words, if this video gets to him, that you would like to share with him, or about the tech teams, and then I'll come back and then we'll finish off.
Oh, nothing other than the fact that I'm glad he's able to have. He's had the ability and a God-given gift to bring about what is presenting for all of us to be able to carry through with his dreams and vision, because that's been something that has been in my heart to be able to do, but not with the ability to how to bring it about. I just do my little part in my little area. But I knew my purpose in life after I went through all my stuff. I knew I had a purpose. I knew what it was. I knew it was about helping humanity. And when I listened and followed through with all the webinars, and I thought, this is why. I don't believe in coincidences. I knew it was synchronicity. God's played a big part in my life, and because of all the modalities that I went through and did a big circle around, and in 1998 I got ordained, and I know that my purpose is here for humanity.
So
And
tell me something that firstly you want to do, and then something that you want to do for others. What is it? Something personal. What do you want to do for you?
Well, I became a widow at 44, and through circumstances with I lost a freehold home. We had a logging business, and underlying issues brought about, and it was a 5-year thing with 5 lawyers, and a lot of the what could have come to me went to lawyers and banks and things like that. And I had to start again at 44 years, as if right from scratch. And it was really tough, and I wouldn't have been able to do it on a widow's benefit. And so my daughter and one of my sons, they had gone to England after they'd graduated, and they were living over there to do their 2-year stint that they could work in, And so I had to write to them to say, well, could you help me out here? Because the bank won't, just look at me. And so that's fine. I had to get all their things from England. And then my oldest boy, he was still living here, and he was a driver for the logging company. And because he had a good income, he was basically the catalyst that gave the bank, said to the bank, yep, okay. So I looked to see what was available, because where am I going to go and live with my children? And I picked the oldest, the raggediest house, the most dilapidated house that was available at the lowest price, and purchased that. and I did it up to the best of my ability, got all the gardens done and what have you, and sold it. And then I purchased this commercial building in the city where I live now. I have tenants below me that are hairdressers, and I live above in the apartment.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and it's freehold. I've worked my rear end off basically to get it to where it is.
Yeah.
But it's an older type building. It was one of the first probably built in this, back in the days when the city was getting built. But it has, it's got a few things. I've done a lot to it, but everything, I've never had any help. So I've always had to do all the maintenance myself. And I'm at that stage now where my physical body's not feeling the greatest. It's and I've
Oh, yeah.
come to terms with that. This is why I'm looking forward to on passive, and I'd love to just be able to have someone else and come to do the maintenance. There's a few things that I like to have done,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that are necessary things. And apart from that, um, there's not much else I have any need for really. My children are all got well, they've got good jobs.
So is there a
I've got
mission or is there a vision for something? Like, is there somebody you might be helping now or plan to help in the future?
well
Guide
back
dogs,
in the
like,
days. I used well back in the days I did volunteer work for victim support, and so I had a lot to do. I was always called in with young suicides and things like that. And this has been a very traumatic year for my family. Not my immediate family, but close, very close. And we had 3 deaths in 1 week. This was only a couple of months ago,
wow.
and I said we had to say goodbye to the last. My husband's. He had 4 brothers, and he was the last one living over in Perth, and we all got on Zoom to fear him goodbye because he, what do they call it? He went through euthanasia, so we stayed with him until he went. So it's been a very, 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 very tough sort of year.
Very,
Contending with this,
very.
bringing ashes back, bringing bodies back from Queensland in the last few months and things like that. Horrific accidents, with trucks and things like that. It's been tough
Is,
for families,
yeah.
so I've had to be supportive for them and things like that. I've got 11 grandchildren, 2 great
Wow.
grandchildren, and
Wow.
yes, two of my grandsons live in Perth and they work in the mines, and another granddaughter that's in Wellington in the hospitality, and my oldest granddaughter that lived a lot with me growing up. She was a nurse, and she was the one that gave me my second great grandchild, and
Oh,
yeah, so and I've managed over the years after my husband passed away and my daughter that was over in England. Initially, she had gone and finished her BA over in America and at University of California, but the San Diego division, and I can't think of the actual terminology. And through her being in an international house, she met a lot of different ones that she lived with, and so that's what took her over to Europe because she was asked to be a bridesmaid, and she went there and decided to stay on. So from there, she was doing well in her the jobs that she had. Her and my son, they ring me up and they say, "Mum, have you got any bills?" I go, "Yes." And they says, "Well, can you pay them off before such and such?" And I said, "Why?" They says, "Well, we know it's always been your dream to go to Egypt." And
ah,
they said, we've booked your fare. So I went with my son and daughter to Egypt
oh,
and had
that's fantastic, Nerissa. How wonderful is that? What a wonderful experience.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you've been to Egypt now,
Yes. And I had
like you've
the most
gone.
amazing experience. And
Yeah,
these
yeah,
and all my stories, like we've driven, my husband and I, with my kids when they were little, we drove across the Nullarbor to Perth. We lived there for a year, and I've travelled a lot since he's been gone, to Europe and things like that. And Egypt was my place that I wanted to go, but and I had an
yeah.
amazing experience. And I met I met this person I met. He was the Royal Highness Prince Charlie Mahmoud, and in Egypt, that took me aside.
Good.
It's a big story. So down the track, I'm hoping. I can't wait for
Well,
O Live because I
just
need to
in
put all
saying
these
that,
things that I have, everything that I have in my journals, because I've had an amazing trip in regards to enlightenment, things that
yeah,
one could possibly think that they're going insane, because it's like it's not a rational thing that happens. Things I hear, things
no,
I see, things
Nerissa,
I could.
Nerissa,
Mhm.
I'm just going to say thank you so much. Look, we are running out of time, and we've
I
actually
know
gone way over time. So I know your story is huge, just like mine, and I shared it on Reds, and he got me back for a part two. We have to do
yes,
that with you down the track. So once,
absolutely.
on passing moves forward a bit, we'd certainly love to hear a little bit more about your story, about your life, because it is important, like I said, to share that out. So I'm just going to do one
Thank
run
you,
over.
Bonky.
People who've joined in. So, M. Kaylee, thank you so much for joining us. M. Kaylee seems to be anywhere, everywhere. So, thank you for joining us again. Thank you for everyone coming in on the social medias that I don't always see the messages to. I will come and answer each and every one of you. We really appreciate your support. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe to the YouTube channel you came in on, or Nerissa Walk On. You will find me there. I'm the only one. And please head over to my website and have a look there. We really appreciate, Nerissa being here tonight with us all, coming in from New Zealand. It is getting late over there, after
It's after
midnight, actually.
midnight.
And we could sit here and talk all night. However, I've got to stick to my time frames for
Absolutely.
everybody. So I want to say thank you, Nerissa. Is there just one last word, or a couple of words that you'd just like to say before we head off tonight?
No, just blessings to everybody, and be and become the change you want to see in the world.
Absolutely. They are great words. Be the change you want to see in the world. Thank you so much, Nerissa. And again, thank you so much for being here. If you could leave a comment, like, subscribe, anything like that, that helps my channel to get more people coming on to seeing these things, so that we can get the word out there about how we are going to change the world. Just as Nerissa said, be the change you want to see in the world. And it all starts with you. And it all starts with your heart. I believe in the dear Lord above, and I thank each and every one of you for being a blessing in my life and in my story. It is hugely important to me that I am today where I am because of the Lord. So, again, thank you. I will finish off now. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I shall see you again next week on Who, What, Where Wednesday at 8 p.m. Queensland time. And please keep an eye out for any spontaneous lives where I go live. So make sure you subscribe and ring the bell, and that will give you the notification of when I go live with another beautiful guest from over on this side of the world. So thank you again. Love you all. Goodbye.
Bye.